Hi, I'm DJ Sixsmith. You're watching The Sit Down. Hanging out today with Ferguson.
Hi.
Got a ton going on these days.
Sure.
What's going on? How are you?
I like that. Hi, Megan. I have a ton going on. I'm good. I do. I have stuff that I'm so psyched that finally gets to be in the world.
It's nice when that can happen,
Yes.
especially like if it's a year and a half in the making, 2 years in the making.
2 years in the making.
You've been waiting
sure.
for this moment.
Yeah. I definitely am like, hope people watch it.
Yes.
Otherwise, like, lost a few years of my life.
Because then I'm sure you're like, wait, what was it like to actually film that? Because it was 2 years ago.
I truly don't remember my part on Curb Your Enthusiasm. I'm like,
you're like, I was there.
Yeah,
and Larry David was there.
I was there. I'm fairly certain Larry David was there. I'm fairly certain I signed 8 NDAs and then like my brain erased it.
You're like, all right, guys,
Yeah.
I'll sign these down.
Yeah.
Now it's like, all right, cool,
Yeah, I
go
was
for
so
it.
afraid to like say anything that I've like fully blacked out what happened. Yeah.
Well, why don't we start with soundtrack, because
Yes.
that seems super interesting, and like you
Yeah.
live in LA, right?
Yes, I live
So
in Los Angeles.
What did you learn about LA culture, or just what did you learn about yourself in the show that you didn't know?
Oh my God. Well, I learned that you can audition for a drama and then end up in a musical where you're dancing. And I did not have a dance audition. And we don't actually sing, thank God, because I would not be on this television show if that was required. But it was just like, oh, it's a drama. You're like the funny friend, that type of audition. Right. I get there to the pilot. They're doing a huge dance number for the lead girl, for Callie Hernandez. And they asked if I would go to the dance rehearsal for the next year. They're like, we're going to give you like 4 counts to do. And I was like, sure. And I have a background in dance. I danced in my first life.
But weren't expecting it in your second.
But it's like been a century.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like a casual, like the monarchy has fallen since then. And so I go to the dance rehearsal, and our choreographer, James, who's just like an actual angel, was like, oh, you can dance. Oh, we're putting you in this.
Oh my gosh.
So then we learned everything the night before and we shot. And that was pretty much how rehearsals went through the whole series. So because people are shooting all day and they were shooting, they're often shooting 2 different time periods. I don't think that's a giveaway.
No, we can throw that in there.
It exists in 2 different time periods, and because they were often shooting them at the same time, there were 2 different crews going. We had to rehearse like, whenever we could, often like the day before, pick it up really quick, and then
just throw yourself into it.
Yeah, and then you were just like, praying for kindness on the other end of the camera. Yeah.
So from what I read, it's like a bunch of different types of people kind of thrown into the
Yeah,
mix here.
it's definitely like, like I know you, this person's run into this person.
Right, and we're connected together.
Slice of life in that situation, and how everybody, how you're in different relationships with different people in your life. But everyone's got their own full world, and I'm in... I am a funny friend in it, of the lead character, Callie Hernandez, but I also get my own episode,
Nice.
which is 108, which is just my character's world, and that was like a real dream, so that was so fun.
Is that the first time that's happened in your career? Where it's just been all you?
For sure.
Yeah,
Absolutely. I was like, oh, okay.
So this is what it's like for a day.
There were just a couple days where it was just me, and I was like, should I call someone on the phone? It's just like me doing things. I was like, this can't be interesting. Yeah.
So where do your comedic chops come from? Like, who are your inspirations? Who are the people
just
you
like besides anxiety. I don't know. I'm from the South. I think most people in the South are funny, like whether they want to be or
just
not.
Naturally?
Yeah. The South, people in the South like to turn everything into a story. Like, I went to the grocery store and oh my God, in the way, my parents are pretty funny.
So ran in the family a little bit.
Yeah, I'm the youngest child. I definitely am an anxious person, so I think comedy can spring from that.
So you just kind of leaned into the anxiety, and you're like, all right, I'm gonna make people laugh. No, some people are just crippled by it, or some people can make people laugh.
Totally. Like, I'll be with someone in the car, and we'll both be like, I don't want to go to this party. I'm like, I don't either. And then we'll get there, and then I'll be doing like standing back talks, and they're like not talking,
Right.
But it's like neither of us wanted to be there.
But where does it come from to push you over the edge then?
I don't have any idea. Yeah. I don't know.
That's really interesting.
I guess, yeah.
So I feel like in that sense, Curb, with all the improvisation going on, is probably like your dream.
Yeah, it was a dream, but it was out of body. Like I was, that was a whole different level of nervous. Like dancing's
one
soundtrack,
thing.
I was like, LOL, you guys hired me. Like, this is your
We're
fault.
good. Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, feel free to cut away. But like Curb, they don't cut away.
Yeah.
They just rent a camera, and you're with Larry David, and you're with this team that's worked together for a decade, and have a comfort level around each other, and it's it was just like diving in the deep end.
Yeah, so what was it like diving in the deep end?
I mean, I did lose feeling in my body at one point. I feel like the first day I was doing a lot of like, stay calm, stay on the planet. Right. Do you feel your feet? Do you feel your fingers?
It's just a job.
Yeah, it's just a job. Who cares? Doesn't mean anything to me. But Larry's incredibly generous in that capacity of like, sometimes in the improv world, you really don't know what's going on. Like, people just go and you don't know what necessarily they're looking for or how many takes you're going to do. And they were very welcoming to me in that sense, especially Jeff Schaefer, who directed the episode, and he's an executive producer, saying like, okay, this is the shape of it. We're going to do it a couple times until we like solidify the shape, and then you can have fun over here, and just giving me like that map, and so that I felt like, that I was on equal footing to everybody. And they were all so like warm and welcoming to me.
That's really awesome. Yeah. So what's your lasting memory from that experience?
My dad got to come to set.
Oh, cool. Nice.
And he got to visit one day, and my dad like genuinely looks like Larry David a little bit. And he was sitting in like my chair, like where the cameras are. And I was so nervous to have him there because it's not like a set where visitors are, it's not that kind of set. And I do remember like Larry walked by and kind of was like, and I was like, that's my dad. But it was great to have them both in the same room.
Totally. Has your dad been to multiple sets before? Or is it first time?
No, that was, it can't have been the first. It might have been the first.
One of the only times.
One of the only. Yeah.
I mean, it's a special moment.
Oh my gosh, it was so special. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So you've done a bunch of different things in your career.
I have.
What stands out to you amongst all the different things you've done?
This year for sure, because Curb is on one end of the spectrum and Soundtrack is on the other. I feel so lucky to have done both, and I feel like I got to be so free in both, even though they're totally different. I felt so fulfilled by both experiences. I felt very lucky.
That's awesome. And you have to work a long time to get to this point.
Oh yeah, I'm in my early hundreds. I do microcurrent facials. But it's been a long, I graduated college and I moved to New York, and I did, I did a play on 57th Street that was in a basement, and one time the basement flooded and they didn't cancel the play. They just had people like sort of like walk through water to come see like a bad Shakespeare production. And then they got like a wet vat. Like, we've been there.
You've been there. That's the bottom. The show must go on, literally.
Yeah, but it like isn't good. Y'all could cancel it. It would be fine. I definitely, I've definitely kept trying.
Yeah. You have to in order to keep building it out.
I mean, there's really no other choice.
Right.
I mean, I'm not suited to work in an office.
It's not your style?
No. No, I'm a little bit too moody, I think, to like have to interact with people all day.
I feel you. So, okay, so you have this year, and then you have the low point. Like, what are some of the middle points? Like, what are some projects that kind of shifted things for you or kind of put you in that next chapter?
I would say the first, I worked on a show called The Comedians that was on FX a few years ago, and that was a really big shift for me in terms of the comedy world. I had done I had done a bit of drama before that. I like to say I played a period prostitute for a while.
What?
I was typecast because like I was in Mad Men as a prostitute, and then I was in Boardwalk Empire as a prostitute, and I like have a sweet face, and then they like put you in a push-up bra, and then you're like a sweet prostitute.
So you were the go-to prostitute.
Yeah,
I mean, those are all-time great shows, but at the same time, you're like, I want to move past that.
Yeah, I was like, are we ready to break out of the mold?
Yeah.
So, and I also felt like my skill set, I thought I was great at a cocktail party. I thought I was funny, and so I was like, the comedy world felt sort of impenetrable at that point. And there's an incredible casting director in Los Angeles named Allison Jones, and I met her very early in my time in Los Angeles, and she was like the entire reason I'm not in law school. She just was so supportive, brought me in for everything, and it took 3 years for me to get cast with her, and she cast me in The Comedians. And that was improv based, and I wasn't a UCB kid. I wasn't like, I didn't have that improv pedigree. And it was Billy Crystal and Josh Gad and Larry Charles, and it had such a, it had such a status in that world that I think that like, that totally opened like those comedy doors for me.
That's really interesting that you were pigeonholed in one way, because now like a lot of what you do is comedy based.
Which I love. Yeah. I know. I'm like, let me back into the prostitute roles. They're like, no,
They're like, no, you've already served your time.
Yeah. They're like, it's sad now.
They're like, no, we can't have you.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
How about Bad Moms? I mean, that was another funny
that
one.
was fun.
You got to hang out for a little while in that movie.
I did. That was that was great. I bopped to New Orleans for that. We were shooting in New Orleans. They were all so great. I filmed so many scenes with Kesha, and then she wasn't in the movie.
Wait, she was in the movie at one
Yes,
point?
and I was in so many scenes with her.
What was the context of her being in the movie?
I think she was playing herself, and she came in, and I was like taking notes, and Mila Kunis was like organizing. I was being like hungover, you know. I would be lying. I would be making up a plot point.
Right,
if
at this point you've forgotten, but she was supposed to be in the movie.
She was, and we did a lot of scenes.
Wow.
And I think she was playing Kesha, and she was like a peach.
She pulled it off?
Yeah, she was great, and she was like top 5 nicest people I've ever met.
That's awesome. Who are some other people you've bumped into that you're like, this is a cool experience, or I've really enjoyed this?
I don't know if I'm allowed to say. There was one person on Curb Your Enthusiasm who...
Somebody pops into the season? Yeah,
and I was like so excited, starstruck, and we didn't have scenes together, but we were on set the same day, and I was just like, I could hear all the movie lines that I've watched of his films like 100 times, like going in my head over and over again.
The funny thing is, like, you as an actor, you're doing that, and same thing here is like you know people from certain points, and they're going to do different things, but they just stick in your mind based on when you saw them.
And you have so much like nostalgia for it. Like,
totally.
If I ever saw Will Ferrell, I would be like, oh my God, you brought me so much joy, and like, I feel like in high school all we did was quote those things. Like, I watched the Chris Farley SNL tape. I don't know, 1,000 times. Like,
just an amazing performer.
And those my friends and I can still quote all that stuff. Like, it becomes part of your vocabulary.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's like the SNL cast that when you were in high school, or the people that were like the big actors in movies when you were in high school, kind of sticks with you.
Yeah, it totally. I know. I mean, maybe books should be doing that, but like.
Maybe, but we watch more TV and film. What do you think about all the different stuff going on in TV and film right now? I mean, the streaming stuff has just kind of opened up, especially in TV. Like, it's just kind of wild.
I hope it doesn't, like, I'm not up on my like astrology to give you some sort of like a supernova metaphor, but I hope it doesn't implode.
Right. Explode. Or like dilute the quality of the show.
Or just like overwhelm people to be like, well, I don't know what that's on, and I'm not going to figure it out, But
Netflix we've accepted. Like, Netflix is kind of.
But Netflix we're cool. It's so exciting for comedy. There's more opportunities for women in TV, I've found. So that's really exciting because there's a lot more platforms, and there's short form, and there's just like a lot of room to be really different. Whereas like maybe network, the era of network, you sort of had your character and you played that in different shows. I think like you can have room as an actor to be on different things as a different person because of the different avenues.
Totally.
And film, I don't know. I get like one movie audition a year. And I like get too nervous and I blow it.
Did you want to do movies, or has it just been an intentional thing to kind of focus on TV?
I just wanted to work. Yeah, I've intentionally passed on a lot of films. No, I think that it's just a volume thing. You know, I think when I started working, it was like when budgets started moving from movies, then, you know, like it's like trickle down. So if you're entering that economy,
it's hard to penetrate.
Yeah, you're starting in TV, but like I've gotten to work with the most incredible people on the most incredible shows. So I'm so grateful for that. Like people I did not imagine I would have been able to.
That's a pretty cool deal, right?
Yeah.
And now you got 2 shows for people to check out?
You know, it's really casual.
No biggie.
It's totally fine. I'm technically unemployed, but...
Isn't that the beauty of it? You hit on 2 things like that, and you're just like, all right, where's my next gig coming from?
Yeah, I'm like, so are we auditioning on Monday?
Right.
Or,
And now the hope is that people will watch this, and they're like, oh yeah, Megan's from Soundtrack, Megan's from Curb, but then it's like, it's a wait and see thing.
Yeah,
to hurry up and wait, like you told me.
I play a weirdo in Dream Corps.
Yeah.
I love those weirdos. That's a really special weird show.
Yeah.
It has a place in my heart.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Good deal, Megan. Really nice to meet you.
Oh, lovely to meet you.
Thanks so much. When's the big day for Soundtrack?
Tonight.
Tonight?
Well, no, December 18th.
December 18th.
Which is not
You got the
today.
premiere tonight.
Yeah, I get to like go wear a dress tonight.
Nice. That's cool. Back with the squad, the whole thing.
Yeah, exactly. That's so fun.
Do we have a Curb date yet?
Curb date is January 19th.
Awesome.
It came together.
This is your time. December and January, Megan's time.
I'm entering the Democratic primary.
There you go.
Yeah.
A vote for her.
Megan 2020.
There you go. For Megan, I'm DJ. See you next time here on The Sit Down.
You're my VP.